Hey, I'm John with Launch Small Business Legal Solutions Done Differently. So, one of the things we work with clients a lot on and get a lot of questions about is contracts in their business. I thought I'd run through some of the essential elements that business owners should be looking at when they're putting together their contracts. One, to help set expectations, and two, to help protect themselves as they're sort of moving through working with clients and customers. So, one thing is clear identification of the parties. Should clearly know who's involved in the contract, legal names, contact information, etc. You're going to want a detailed description of the goods and services, what's being sold, what's being delivered, quantities, standards involved, delivery schedules, all those things that sort of make it clear what is being delivered under the contract, whether it be a service or a product. So then you want some terms and conditions around things like payment terms, pricing, if there are deadlines on when things need to be delivered. Are you giving a warranty on a product or a service? Are there any guarantees? What happens if someone breaches the agreement? How do you cure that? Or can you cure that? So those terms should be clearly stated, agreed upon upfront. Take a lot of ambiguity or uncertainty out of the agreement. So then you could have a scope of work as well. I think this is important in service agreements. What's being done helps prevent disputes over expectations. So it's clarity around what one party is delivering to the other. I'd expand on payment terms a little bit, mentioned that a minute ago, but clearly laying out the amount, the method of payment, any payment schedule, late fees, interest, what happens if something's uncollectible, how's all that going to be handled? Payment disputes are a huge issue with contracts. A lot of that can be avoided. I think confidentiality, non-disclosure can be important, especially depending on the specifics of the agreement or what's being offered. You may not want anyone to disclose information that they come across or that they learn in the course of the contract being performed. So think about what information someone might get. Do you need to protect that? Really important, I think, is dispute resolution. So this can be handled in a contract. You can lay out a process for handling disputes if they come up, what the conditions are for doing that, how you resolve it. Could be that you find a mechanism to skip court altogether, use mediation and arbitration, avoid litigation. So some of these things can help mitigate risk, save some time and money if something does go wrong in the agreement. I think you want to lay out sort of governing law and jurisdiction where you can as well. Ideally, you're trying to get it to be your backyard, your state. So if something goes wrong, it's handled in your locality. That may or may not happen depending on who you're entering into an agreement with. But either way, if you address that, you know where disputes are handled and can sort of have a feel for that if something's starting to go wrong. I think it's important to pay attention to contracts. They don't need to be overly long or huge documents, but it sets expectations. It helps owners protect themselves and can go a long way in saving time and money as you sort of continue dealing with customers and clients.